joining. Okay, yeah. Thank you so much for taking our time and joining the webinar. Now, coming to a little bit description about me, I've been in the field of psychology for the past 4 years, and I am right now pursuing my PhD in psychology from Amity University, and I have around 5,000 and odd counseling hours. Now, this is a little bit about me. Now, coming to today's topic. As Today's topic is about implementing a dialectical approach, mostly in specific with school setting, where we focus on enhancing communication and conflict resolution. That would be the main focus of the whole webinar that we are doing today. Now, this webinar, while I understand a couple of other webinars of mine are very interactive and it comes with a lot of interaction and a person, we both, I mean, audience and me interacting. This will be more of a technical webinar where it would be more of a lecture kind of thing. So I suggest you have your coffee or water or any other snacks that you have with you so that we both can dive into the webinar soon. Now, here we are talking about dialectical approach. So, a dialectical approach actually it involves recognizing that multiple perspectives can actually coexist, and also that by integrating all these perspectives, we can actually arrive at a more, nuanced understanding of a situation. This method has a very, I would say, strong philosophical roots in the work of Socrates, who used dialogues, to explore ideas. And also we have Hegel, who proposed the idea of thesis and antithesis and synthesis. And now coming to Marx, he's the one who actually applied dialectical thinking to both social and economical theories. Okay, now coming to the importance of this whole dialectical approach in the context of education, it is very crucial, I think, because it encourages students, or I would say clients also, to think very critically. Hindi and English. Okay, I'll try my level best. I'll actually try my level best to include both Hindi and English. Thank you for that. Yes. uh, as I was saying, what was I saying? Yeah, in the context of education, right? So dialectical thinking is actually important because what it does is it actually encourages students to think very critically and it to consider different point of views, and also it helps in resolving conflicts because what a dialectical, I would say, approach does is it fosters a sense of understanding and collaboration between the two parties who are engaged in a conflict. And to add to that, dialectical DBT, we all know that it called DBT. It also aids in emotional regulation. It helps both the students and also the staff actually to manage their emotions very effectively. So we spoke about critical thinking, क्योंकि डायलेक्टिकल ओके डीबीटी क्या करती है, इट एक्चुअली ये एक स्टूडेंट को दूसरों की पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से भी what I'm trying to say is that I'm so sorry I'm not able to do a technical part in Hindi. I'm really sorry for that. Is there any
Want me to help?
Yes, is there anyone who would want to translate that into Hindi?
I can try to help you, Sahiti.
Thank you.
Can you please tell me about what do you want me to translate?
So I was saying that in the context of education, DBT actually helps in critical thinking because DBT actually fosters critical thinking by completely challenging the students to consider multiple perspectives and also multiple point of views. And yeah, first let that be done. Yeah.
ओके सो डायलेक्टिकल थेरेपी बिहेवियरल थेरेपी जो है वो हमें सिर्फ एक तरह से सोचने नहीं देता, हमें अलग अलग तरीके से सोचने को मौका देता है। तो एजुकेशन के हिसाब से, बच्चों को पढ़ाई के हिसाब से देखें तो ये बहुत अच्छा तरीका है, क्योंकि ये बच्चों का सोच को ज़्यादा बेहतर बनाने को मौका देता है। हाँ, सही थी।
थैंक यू सो मच। तो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट रेजोल्यूशन में क्या होता है, जब डीबीटी हम यूज करते हैं ना, तो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट कॉन्फ्लिक्ट रेजोल्यूशन में हम एक क्लाइंट को या एक बच्चों को ये अपॉर्चुनिटी देते हैं कि आप एम्पैथी के साथ बात करें, आप दूसरों की पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू भी अंडरस्टैंड करें, और एक जो कंस्ट्रक्टिव डायलॉग है, यानी एक डायलॉग या एक आपकी बात करने का तरीका ऐसा होना चाहिए कि आप दूसरों को डिसरेस्पेक्ट ना करें, दूसरों की पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू को ऐसे अ, दिमाग में रखे या अंदाजे में रखे, और एक सॉल्यूशन पे आए जो दोनों के लिए ठीक है। ठीक है, नाउ कमिंग टू इमोशनल रेगुलेशन। तो डीबीटी यूज करने से क्या होता है कि हम स्टूडेंट को वो स्किल्स देंगे जो यूज करके वो खुद का इमोशंस पे इमोशंस को समझे, खुद का इमोशंस को कैसे एक्सप्रेस करे वो भी समझे। ओके, नाउ यस, दिस इज अ वेरी ब्रीफ अबाउट, ओके, how do I turn this off? Stop handwriting. Okay. This is very brief about what is DBT and how do we use it in an educational point of view. Coming to the main principles of DBT, we have different principles of DBT, starting with balancing opposites. So, this is the very first principle of DBT. It, as the name states, it's balancing opposites. So, what it involves is it involves recognizing that opposite viewpoints or opposite focus can both hold validity. इसका मतलब ये है कि दोनों पॉइंट ऑफ व्यूज जो एक दूसरे की ऑपोजिट है, दोनों ही सही हो सकता है। ओके, नाउ इन स्कूल सेटिंग, टू बी वेरी स्पेसिफिक अबाउट इट, this could mean that okay, that a student's disruptive behavior or a student's very un I would say uncontrolled behavior, it might stem from the underlying issues that a student might have, right? Which which will be sorted when we provide support to actually deal with the underlying issues, right? So, and also helps in understanding that requiring a very balanced approach that addresses, that helps us as a counselors, helps us address the both discipline and also the support system, right? In terms of normal clients, what this means is that it helps us understand why that emotion is coming from and why is that a specific point is so triggering. Now, here by using DBT, by the principle of balancing opposites, what we can actually do is that we can actually help help the client understand and manage the trigger reaction, and also by managing, or I would say by providing support to solve the main core issue. Okay. Now, this is one core principle of DBT. The next is integration of diverse perspectives. Now, um, okay, this is the principle. It is about, I would say, synthesizing different viewpoints to form a very comprehensive understanding in a very layman term, helicopter view or third eye perspective or top tree perspective. We say like that, right? So, for instance, let's say while we okay, let's say while we are addressing a school about a school policy, it is very beneficial to consider the perspective of teachers, consider the perspective of students, parents, the helper staff, all of them, right? For example, uh, let's say we put a school rule saying no one should wear saris, just a rule. Now we can ensure as a school management can ensure students perspective to put a uniform, teachers perspective to put a formal Indian, I mean Western formals as uniform. This specific decision, it is not stemming from, it is not considering the perspective of parents, it is not helping, it is not being taken by considering the perspective of the helper staff also, right? So whenever we take a decision, it should be, or whenever we consider something or taking a decision or anything that affects the mental health of a child or of an individual as well, DBT helps us. The main principle of DBT is that we consider every single perspective, and by every single perspective means every single person that is affected by the life of a specific person. Okay, now the next principle of DBT is the importance of context and change. So, DBT actually emphasizes the importance of both context and change because situations are actually not static, right? They are very dynamic and they are very, very evolving. Now, coming to school perspective, in a classroom, this would mean that um this would mean that teaching students to consider the context of a problem and to be open to very new, I would say yes. This would mean that it would mean that open to a new information, open to new perspectives, and also making them understand that there will be changes, right? For example, what can be okay? How do we put it in a okay? How do we put it in a psychological perspective, or how would this help in treating a client? Is that importance of context and change? There are certain situations where we see that a person might not be okay with change, right? There are certain cases where we see that a person might not understand the context of what a person has said something, and they take it in a very I would say different way, or attacking or defensive way, and that might affect their mental health, right? So in this very basic principle of DBT, it states that we actually have to take into consideration, even while having a conversation with the client, it is our responsibility to make it very clear that we explain the client on what is the context, and also make the client ready for the change. And this also means giving the client skills to cope with the changes that are happening, and also making the client ready for, or making the client well equipped with the skills that they can use to adapt to the change that is happening around them. Are we clear with the principles? Do we have any doubts so far?
No, it's great.
Okay, I'm hoping it's clear. Oh, should I have put it? Okay. Now, coming to the core skills of DBT. Okay, we have four core skills of DBT. One is mindfulness, next is distress tolerance, next is emotional regulation, and interpersonal effectiveness. We'll go one by one, and then we'll come to the benefits of DBT in school setting. Okay, now coming to mindfulness. So, okay, can anyone help me understand what is mindfulness? Again, one thing I want to make it very clear, there is no right or wrong answer in the session that we're having right now. It's an open session, it's a very safe space, so anyone can go ahead.
It means to be here and the now, like
Perfect. Okay.
be 100% involved in what you are doing, and
Okay.
involve all your senses, like the five senses that we talk about. So
Perfect.
that
Being
way.
present. Okay. Naman, you have raised your hand. Would you want to go ahead? In the meanwhile, yes, Dolly
And I
has.
was gonna say the same thing, being present in
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Naman. Dolly has told being present. Sanjana has told being aware of one's thoughts, emotions, being in the present, and not being in the past or the future. Perfect. Anyone else? Would anyone else want to add? Okay. Now, awareness without interpretations, essentially. Perfect. The practice of paying full attention to the present moment with acceptance and without judgment. Excellent. Now, the textbook definition of mindfulness is it is a combination of everything that everyone has told. It involves being fully present in the moment with awareness without judgment. Right? Now, that is mindfulness. Mindfulness is about, okay, in school setting, this can be okay, this can be a very short practice, while that might be included would help the beneficial would be beneficial for the children, is that starting each class with a very very small and brief mindfulness exercise, like deep breath technique or guided imaginary techniques, or maybe if not every single class, we can also So every school, the school counselors, they do go ahead and take SEL sessions, or they do go ahead and take workshops or webinars for the children, group sessions we call it, right? In that situations, let's say for example, you're speaking about a topic very, which is very sensitive like bullying, or a topic which is very important like menstrual health, or any topic actually, to be very honest, is very important for child. So in that cases, what as a counselor we can do is we can start that session with a very small mindfulness session, mindfulness activity. This can include mindful breathing, the finger breathing, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, right? We know this technique that can be used. And apart from that, we can also start by, the one thing that we can include this in an everyday practice is mindful listening, right? When someone is saying something, this whole very small thing of mindful listening is where you pay your full attention to what the other person is saying, and you try to take it in and be in that present and concentrate on what the person is saying. Now, this mindful listening, it has different benefits, right? One is it would actually make us good listeners. That would also include active listening. Mindful listening is a branch of active listening. Second thing, if mindful listening is actually done in the class, this would mean that a child is actually able to concentrate on what is actually happening in the school, what is actually happening in the class, right? So this is mindfulness, right? Uh, in general, in terms of clients, on how we can go ahead is that we can include different activities like mindful sleep routine, mindful eating, mindful journaling, right? Uh, Being mindful about our, actually uh, being very aware of what our emotions are, right? And also, there are a lot of journaling prompts that we can use to express our emotions, express what is going on in our day, right? All of that, they can be used as activities, right? For any, I mean, I'm not labeling any specific issue here. They can be used in any kind of client that you are seeing, even in school, right? Now, next thing is distress tolerance. What do you think distress tolerance is?
Resilience against any hurdle or any tough situation, like how the
Oh,
kid is.
okay, that's amazing. That's amazing. Anyone else? Anyone else would want to take it?
To handle an emotional incident without feeling overwhelmed.
Okay, understood. Understood. Naman, please go ahead.
Handling any situation without making it worse.
Okay, makes sense. Completely makes sense. In the chat box, I could read being able to tolerate or cope with different levels of distress under perfect. Would anyone else want to go ahead and give a take about it? What according to you is distress tolerance? I would like to reiterate, every answer is a right answer. There is no wrong answer. This whole space that we are having right now, the webinar, it's a very safe space, no judgment and all. So please go ahead. Okay. Distance tolerance is handling difficult emotions and stress well. Perfect. Now, again, the textbook definition of distress tolerance, it includes every single thing that you all have told, right? Distress tolerance is actually a skill, that would help individuals cope with painful situations or emotional crisis without making things worse. Okay. Now, um, why do you think it is essential for students, or yes, why do you think it's essential for students? Anyone? If you're not comfortable in unmuting and answering, you can also put it in a chat box. To effectively cope with difficult situations, yes. Perfect. Accept themselves as they are. Excellent, right? So, teaching our students or teaching clients, with these techniques such as grounding exercises, distraction methods, right? Okay, distraction methods, they include focusing on a hobby. They include doing anything apart from focusing on one specific thing that is causing you a lot of distress. For example, um, I'll tell you one example that I actually remember of. In situations of suicidal ideations, what generally happens is that whenever a person is actually feeling suicidal, in one of the, in the suicide kit, or in the self-help kit, if a person would actually want to, while they're okay, let's say for example, I'm having suicidal ideations right now, and I don't have access to my therapist, and I'm waiting in call, for a helpline number. In that time, if I need to deviate my mind or distract, a psychiatrist or a clinical psychologist, they do ask their client to wear a rubber band here, and play with the rubber band like this, right? Now, why this helps is because it regulates your nervous system, and rather than focusing on the thoughts of suicidal ideations, it focuses on the pain that is happening here. That is one thing. And the next thing is, distraction methods also include, let's say you're worrying about something, you immediately distract yourself by listening to music, or by walking on grass barefooted, right? All of these small techniques which can be done on a daily basis. For example, whenever you are preparing for exam, and you are feeling very stressful, you bachpan mein, you remember you used to take your pen and do like this, right? We try to balance a pen on the fingers by changing it, or we do like this, like just constantly moving the pen, right? All of this, they help in dissipating our stress. Okay. Also, self soothing strategies, this can also include drawing, this can also include uh, any sensory activity, any activity that helps uh, your all your senses focusing on that one specific thing, right? Now, teaching our students or clients with all of these techniques, it would help a person manage a crisis without making the situation worse. Let's say for example, let's say for example, I have a math exam tomorrow, and I'm really stressed. Generally, without any of these, I would say, self-soothing strategies or grounding exercises, what I would generally do is I would go down a spiral. Instead of preparing for math exam, I would start thinking, oh my god, how my parents would react if I fail in math exam. Oh my god, if I fail in math exam, I would not go to next class. Oh my god, my friends will all go ahead. It's a whole spiral downward thought, right? Now, with the help of these soothing exercises or distracting methods or whatever, yes, I would take some time, I would go, I would calm myself down, come back, focus on the math exam that I have tomorrow, focus on preparation, right? This is in terms of student. In terms of clients, they would focus on the task that they have in hand rather than the emotion that is making them extremely distressed. Are we clear on this? Okay. Now, the next core principle, or I would say the core, the core of DBT is emotional regulation. Now, what do you think is emotional regulation? Anyone? Again, every answer is a right answer, no wrong or right answers. What do you think is emotional regulation?
Identifying your emotions.
Okay, perfect. Identifying your emotions comes under emotional regulation. Next.
How to cope with it? Actually, I am taking class for emotional regulations, ma'am. Now, at
Oh,
school.
that's amazing. Oh, that's amazing. That's good to hear. So, how to cope with emotions?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I'm teaching them how to cope, and I'm with activity with that.
Oh, that's great. Would you be comfortable in sharing what activity are you,
Sure, ma'am. I can mail it to you.
no, comfortable in sharing to the group?
Okay, okay. like I made an activity to journal their 10 days of emotions. whatever it may be.
Amazing. That's amazing. That's good.
Then another one is expressing what they like. 1 minute, ma'am. I just forgot it.
No, that's
Like,
it. All right.
yeah, when you're happy, how is your emotion? How is it when you're sad? How is your emotion and your thoughts? Like that. Happy, sad, all these emotions to put together, and I made a worksheet for them.
That's amazing. Oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that with you.
Welcome, ma'am.
Yeah, I can see in the chat accepting and coping with different emotions, positive or negative, effectively, not showing up or bursting out into emotions. Perfect. So, all of this, right? All of this combined again is emotional regulation, right? The textbook definition of emotional regulation is it involves understanding and managing intense or any kind of emotions in a healthy way. Okay, so this is emotional regulation, right? Now educating students or even clients about recognizing and also labeling their emotions, using techniques like, as Vidya has told, an amazing technique, emotional diary, right? That, or applying strategies to actually reduce vulnerability to intense emotions, right? All of this will help them to have a emotionally healthy life. Now, this is one very small thing that I would want to share. How many of you have a bank account, like a basic bank account? How many of you have a bank account? I have bank account. Yes, right? Everyone has a bank account. Now, how many of you believe that you all have emotional banks? How many of you believe you all have emotional banks? We all hear a word as therapists, we all hear, don't pour from an, you can't pour from an half cup or empty cup, right? Now, yes, we are aware of that. We cannot pour out from a half cup or empty cup. What exactly is this cup? This, we actually, my therapist, my supervisor, we at Health Basics, we would call it emotional tank. Now, as a counselor, yes, your emotional capacity, exactly. Thank you so much, Sanjana, for that. We call it emotional bank or emotional tank or different names. Now, this very small strategy, it can be used for you as a counselor, it can be used for students, it can be used for any client that you're taking, no matter what issue they have come up with. Fill your emotional tank or bank on a daily basis. Do activities that would help fill your emotional bank on a daily basis, because okay, let's say for example you have 20 lakhs in your bank account and you want to buy an iPhone of 70,000, right? Once you buy that iPhone, do you think there is a huge gap in that bank account that you have? No, right? It's just a gap of 70,000. You still have what, 19 lakhs 30,000, or yeah, I think that's the amount, right? Now, let's say you only have 1 lakh in your bank account and you go ahead and buy 70,000 ka iPhone. That is a huge chunk, right? You would feel that, oh my god, I lost so much, I've spent so much, right? Because only 30 lakhs is remaining. Oh, sorry, 30,000 is remaining. In the same way, if your emotional bank is full or sometimes even overflowing, it becomes easy for you to actually deal with a distressed, and tough emotion, or an emotion that is taking so much energy from you, right? Now, emotional regulation, coming back to that, uh, this can involve actually teaching students to recognize and label their emotions accurately. This can also involve teaching, such as, as we were speaking, emotional diaries, and having a very regular physical activity and balanced diet, so on and so forth, right? All of this comes under emotional regulation. Okay, are we clear on this? Now, moving to the next topic, that is, thank you so much. Um, that is interpersonal effectiveness. What do you think interpersonal effectiveness is?
It is establishing healthy boundaries, uh, understanding one's needs and wants.
Perfect, perfect. Would anyone else want to give a go ahead about it or give a take on what interpersonal effectiveness is? I would like to again say that every answer is a right answer. There is no wrong answer. So please feel free to share. This is a very, very, very safe space. Okay, creating and maintaining relations and communications. Perfect efforts that are that very effective for both parties. Excellent. Right.
Understanding the unsaid things.
Perfect. Perfect. Understanding the uncertainties. Okay. Now, the textbook definition of interpersonal effectiveness is a mix of everything that you have just told, maintaining healthy relation efforts that, okay, yeah. So, interpersonal effectiveness, these skills, they enable individuals to actually communicate their needs very assertively, maintaining healthy relationships, and also respect themselves and respecting others, right? Now, um, it is about communicating needs, yes. Now, in schools, what we can do is role play scenarios to practice assertive communication and teaching negotiation and compromise skills and encouraging a very respectful dialogue in group activities. We see in a lot of situations we see that in school children paying about one science lab equipment that is available, that they have to share, and also a sports equipment that they want to share, or that is they're up for sharing, all of that, right? Now, what as school counselors, what we can do is actually we can um, create situations, do a role play, and also by doing a role play we can actually help the child to practice these skills like active listening, assertive communication, how do we negotiate, how do we compromise. Let's say for example I say that no, 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 I want this ball only from 3:30 to 3:45, after that you can take. Now the other person, they might have a match till 3:40, right? Now considering all the situations and going ahead on encouraging very respectful dialogue so that we can help them having all these skills. Okay, are we clear on the core principles of DBT, or I would say the core DBT
Yes.
skills? Right. Now, um, coming to the okay, yeah, coming to the benefits in a school setting, we are actually right now focusing on benefits. Okay, could we discuss more about role play part? Yeah, sure. I've actually saved it for end. Would it be all right if I complete this part and then we can do a role play?
Yes, ma'am.
Sure. Thank you so much. Okay, now, coming to the benefits in a school setting, we we have a lot of benefits, but we have actually cut them down to three benefits. One is enhancing critical thinking skills, promoting emotional regulation, and fostering a collaborative environment. Would anyone want to tell me what it means by promoting, sorry, enhancing critical thinking skills? Anyone? Again, every answer is a right answer.
Ma'am, as you mentioned earlier that it'll help the student to think from different perspectives. So let's assume the kid named A is in a situation in which he is in a fight with his friend or anyone or a classmate, and yeah, so critical thinking basically, it's good to help the kid understand or learn about critical thinking, so that when a situation happens he just does not directly jumps to fight with the friend. rather give that benefit of doubt ki, हाँ, the other person can also be uh, can also have their own point of view, and maybe that is one of the reasons they are in this situation. Like
Okay,
whatever he's seeing, that's not the truth, but there are other perspectives or other angles to look at the situation, something
makes
like
sense.
this.
Makes sense. Completely understandable. So, the benefit of, I would say, applying critical thinking in schools is to actually enhance the skills by encouraging students to actually explore and integrate opposite viewpoints, right? So that they develop a deeper understanding and also the ability to think about complex issues, right? This is not only this thinking of this skill of critical thinking is not only not only will it help in academic issues, but also in everyday decision making and problem solving skills, right? So that is critical thinking. We have already discussed what critical thinking is, but in general, in school, this is how it would help. Next, coming to promoting emotional regulation. How do you think that would help in a school setting? Anyone?
Ma'am, can I use an example to explain?
Yes, always.
So let's assume the kid had exam, and hypothetically again, the kid failed. So emotion regulation will come into play here, as in, the moment the kid sees the marks, he should not feel bad ki, okay, this is the end of the life and blah 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 and things like that. It is good to teach them emotion regulation, so that they're able to do justice to their emotion of feeling sad, yeah, justice to the emotion of feeling bad about the situation, but also uh, you know uh, moving on from it, that it is not the end of the world.
Okay, perfect. Actually, I don't think there is any other way that I could sum up the whole point of promoting emotional regulation very perfectly. Thank you so much, Gulin, for that. So, to actually sum up everything, okay, equipping both the staff and children with the skills of, with the skills like mindfulness or staying present or having emotional regulation, it would actually help them uh, managing their emotions in the classroom and also managing their emotions in their daily life, which would again assist them in handling stressful situations without becoming overwhelmed. Like, for example, a stressful situation can include getting less marks. A stressful situation can include parent blaming a teacher, right? These are daily scenarios that happen in schools, right? All of this that would be helpful. Now, fostering a collaborative environment, like, what happened, okay, audience perspective, what do you think about fostering a collaborative environment is? Anyone? Again, every answer is a right answer, no answer is a wrong answer. Please go ahead.
So there is no power struggle between the counselor or the client, and maybe in the sense like no one is like better than someone else. We both work together.
Okay, that's amazing. That's actually amazing. Anyone else would want to give a take on what is fostering a collaborative environment means? Okay. By valuing and integrating very diverse perspectives, with what happens is this approach, it actually encourages teamwork, right? And this means that creating a culture where students and staff, they feel respected and are willing to work towards each other's growth constructively, mostly teachers working towards students growth constructively and students hearing what the teacher is saying, right? This not only improves the situation in the school, but also completely enhances the overall, I would say, learning experience of a child, right? Now, apart from that, do you think there are anything else that it helps in school setting? I mean, DBT helps in school setting. Anyone? Okay. Now, I'm so sorry. Yes, it's time for questions and it's time for role play.